Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma practitioners, when it comes to practice meditation, there are mainly three reasons. One is, as a human being in this very lifetime, we have to gain the best out of this life. And the next one, after we die, if we go to another place, that place should be better than the place we have today. And the third one is in this sansaric journey. In case if you miss this time, whenever you decide you want to attain to enlightenment, you should have the necessary knowledge for that. That knowledge called path. So this is very important. The path is, even though conventionally we say the knowledge, the path, when you recognize the path, it is not about the knowledge. It is you seeing deeply inside how things happens. And when it comes to how things happen, according to the Buddha's teaching, cause and effect. So you have to have ability to see the cause and effect through the situations or the incidents or through the environment or through the knowledge. But ourselves, we mostly attach to collect the knowledge. So that should not practice through this journey, collecting knowledge. So because collecting knowledge itself take us to bound to ourselves, become very limited ourselves. It's not going to bring the freedom to you. So without that freedom inside you, you cannot observe or you cannot recognize. So then the knowledge itself become a hindrance to ourselves. It happens even in day-to-day life. That when you trying to do something, even as ordinary person, sometimes look at how the knowledge you accumulated come and hold you. That is where mostly you cannot move forward. And it conventionally, it deeply affect for our success. So in this path, especially when it comes to the vipassana practice, one of the very important thing, you become free from knowledge. But the wisdom means you deeply see cause and effect. So when you come to the cause and effect, that how things happen according to necessary conditions. So when you have that knowledge, you're not bound to permanent incident or permanent situations or the permanent idea, or you're not bound to permanent solution. That is what you need. See that when the situation comes, when you see the situation, you are itself free from the situation. That is where you can bring a solution to that. Because if you bound by the situation through the ideas or the permanent solution or permanent believing or method, you cannot bring a solution to the situation. Why? Because you are a part of it. So whatever the solution you bring, it always comes with the self-centered idea. So then remember, when it comes to the wisdom, that wisdom should depend on the cause and effect and recognizing and how things come to be as they are according to necessary conditions and environment. So that is what you have to accumulate. That is the power you have to develop. When you develop that in you, your mind little by little become matured. When the perception happen in that very moment of experience, you're not bound to even that perceptions. That is where you can see something very clearly. That is where you can experience something without viewpoint. Otherwise, all the knowledge take us to view, hold it to view. So through the schools, universities, through the diplomas, mostly what happening? We little by little come to a view. The mostly whatever our teachers had, and we start to follow that. Whatever our parents had, we start to follow that. Whatever our favorite people follow, we start to follow that. Whatever our politicians follow, and we start to follow that. So we hold it to view, and then you can put a nice word for that, and then you can name it as a party. So the party is kind of like it's giving you kind of like a validation, but it is your self view. It is little bit too naked to call like that way. But when you come to a point to tell this is our party, and then it is kind of like you can say anywhere, and you feel so you comfortable, you feel so proud. But look deeply how that you come to a point to bound to that, because you bound to the information, you bound to the knowledge, you bound to the ideology, you bound to the conceptions. So everybody, that whatever you have in your head as a life, mostly look, it's mostly ideas, not the very clear deep experience. Mostly you have a lot of ideas. That ideas came through others, as Socrates told. And so we are bound to these ideas, and we hold these ideas as life. So then remember, when it comes to the vipassana, don't go with collecting knowledge. Completely be free, but be aware about the experience. An experience, and that experience will take you to a level to recognize things very clearly. So that is where you gain the freedom. So that is the first rule that you have to remember in this path. So path means the developing the path means not collecting knowledge. That is, remember that. Repeat, in case if you want, repeat it as a mantra. It's going to liberate you one day. So when you develop the path means not collecting knowledge. You start to see the cause and effect with necessary conditions and situation, how things come to be as they are. When the mind come to the point to see that, that is where you start to see the path. That is what you developing the path. So when in that path, when you come to that, naturally when you have that ability to see like that way, ability to recognize cause and effect, ability to recognize how things come to be as they are, what happening. The very next thing happening in you, you transform each and every single atom in you, start to transform to different level. What is that different level? You start to become a person, be willing to change. You ready to change. So that is what, because we look at the world, or look at the people, they're struggling to change. Everybody like to change. Everybody look for a change, but it doesn't come. Even whatever they go with the conventional life as change, then later it it bounce back, and then they feel it's miserable. So whatever people do for a change, look, end of that, what happening? They get tired out of that change. So, but this is not like that. It's deeply happening naturally. That when that change mean, it is not you condition, or it should be like this way, it should be like this way. Naturally, so whatever the next moment, you become ready to accept it. And in that level, it doesn't matter it going to become successful or it going to go down. It doesn't matter. For whatever, you ready to to go with the next moment. In conventional life, when you look for the change, you always like a ladder, you like a staircase, you always like to go higher, go higher, go higher. You don't think go down. But in the spiritual path, when you look this ability, when you develop this ability to change, it doesn't matter you go higher or lower. Why? Because you go with the necessary conditions, and you go with the environment. So then, in case if you have to go down, you accept it, because that going down, maybe sometimes that is the point you're going to find the enlightenment, not the place you go higher. So it's kind of like a landing bring the 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 journey complete, not the takeoff. So sometimes when in the journey in day-to-day life, don't be too perfect to make everything right, and don't try to push everything should be perfect. No, when sometimes things go down, that is where you gain the wisdom, understanding how things come to be as they are. Look at the characters during Buddha's time. Angulimala, and he had a very, very comfortable life, but he went down in his life, and the whole country come against him, and he became a kind of, he was in the bottom of life, and everybody rejecting, everybody was afraid. But that is the moment he found the Buddha. And we'll look at the Sopaka, and he used to live in house, and but one day his stepfather took him to the cemetery and tied it to a dead body. Look, and told whole village, tonight there is a dead body going to walk around this village. Don't open the doors. Don't come. Even maybe I will ask the help. Don't come. Don't open the door. It is a dead body. And Sopaka was helpless. And he went to the bottom and even tied to the dead body in a cemetery. But that is where the Buddha met. So in case in your life, you come to a point and you get panic, you think that is the end of everything. But this wisdom giving you opportunity, accept it. Accept it. Don't struggle. Because you see the path, you cultivating the path. And look at the Patachara. She had a very luxurious life. But she went away with the servant boy and had a life, and then finally everybody died. Husband died, and the three children died, and parents died, everybody died. Even there was no any single garment in her body, on her body. She was completely naked. But that is the place the Buddha address. But when something happened to us, we think it should be like this, it should be like this. And then we think when that things go wrong, we get panic, we get disappointed, depressed, unhappy, sad. We don't understand. It is a part of this journey. Maybe that is the moment you're going to find your turning point. So accept it. That is the power you gain. It's not going to happen just itself, but just by reading books, motivational speech. It's not going to happen like that way. It's going to happen when you have an idea, when you practice to cultivate the path. That path means what? Not collecting knowledge. You start to see cause and effect. You start to see how things come to be as they are. Naturally, this is the power you gain. So the next one, resilient. So the resilient, you recover very fast through any situation. Look, that is the quality that every character had. And you're not repeating again and again, going back to that whatever happened in your life. Just overnight, you completely change to something. It is a skill that come. It is a profitable skill that come out of that. When you develop the path, you recover very fast without holding to anything. That is what the Vipassana teach you. That is what deeply, even you may thinking that you just keep observing and recognizing, observing, recognizing, and you look forward and you don't see underneath that the what is happening to your behavior. You become a person who you recover very fast. That is very necessary. Remember, in life, look, we are the reason we are addicted to collect memories. Why? Because we thought the path is gathering wisdom, gathering knowledge, gathering information is the way to cultivate path. So because of that, naturally we develop a different kind of behavior inside us. What is that behavior? Collecting memory. So that's why it's a even when you go to sleep deeply, each and every cell vomit that the memory that you collect in you. Then sometime few years back, whatever happened, suddenly maybe you see in dreams. And whenever situation happen, look, that even very little incident happen as a husband, wife, children, brothers, sisters, what you remind, what you bring, that the person, whatever the person, the mistake that done, or you going to point out that mistake, or are you reminding the history, repeating? It's a kind of like a tape recorder. You go all the repeating the history. Remember 10 years back, remember that before you married, remember your brother did it, remember your sister did this, remember your father told this. You go repeating, repeating, repeating. So, because you have no power to recover, you have power to hold. So that way it's not going to take you to any change. Why? Because your foundation is the memory. So get out of it. So how you can get out? It's not kind of like you take a decision and I'm not going to do it or that way like that. No, you become very clear with the path. and start to observing the path, inhalation, exhalation, you observing, and finally you see what? Change. And through that change, you recognize in the cause and effect. So the deeply you transform. That deeply means each and every cell, even your DNA, start to reform, rebuild, and you become completely different than your entire the the ancestors of your entire human history. So resilient, recover past. So that's where it's a when it comes to even tranquility meditation, see how you practice. When the mind goes somewhere, you suddenly bring it back and you don't question why it happened this way, where my mind went, why I cannot. No, you don't question anymore. You just observe without even thinking what happened. See, you recover past. That is become a skill. That is what you need. So then through practice this meditation, when whatever that you develop with your mind, cultivating your mind, it become your life deeply. So then naturally, little by little, around you, you start to change your character. It's naturally happening. Transform. You completely become somebody, different person. But that doesn't mean you're going to be different from others. You transform deeply inside. And that is where that transformation bring the third quality to you. The first one is you start to accept the change. That change, whatever the change, you start to accept the change. And the second one, resilient. You recover very fast. And the third one is very important. The third quality, that you start to see each and every one. It doesn't matter you attain to enlightenment and somebody not attaining to enlightenment. Or you have done something good and somebody fail. But in between this all, you start to develop the connection. That's very important. Why? Because in the society, what we learn, we always learn to divide things, separate from this, that, like that way. That separation bring all this misery to the world. Look at each and every country every day. Even though we have this everything, I forget about corona. When it come to, when it come to people, they forget about this all the virus things, and they go with their own mental ideas. And then now when the virus little by little becomes slower, they start to get back to their old style of the life. Look at the world, look at the news and see how the world behave, how the people behave, and what happening in other countries. Then is what happening here, what people start to do, what people waiting to do. Is people going to do something new? Through understanding these things, so they're waiting to repeat whatever they used to do. Think about. So that separation, we deeply hold it to that. But the next quality you gain, you start to recognize the connection in between this everything. That is where you get out of the struggle. You accepting, it's called harmony. And in yoga, it's called yuj, the connection. And another way, that loving kindness, and the loving, more than the loving kindness, and it, to the Western world, it transforms in a different way. It's a kind of like the compassion. So the compassion. Another thing is the to the love, when you add the kindness and you don't expect that you don't look anything return. So this compassion, this loving kindness, and when you nourish with that, and your life become more comfortable, relaxed, cool inside you rather than boiling and heating inside you. So then in day-to-day life, you have to count on your practice and see what you gain. So are you seeing the path? Are you cultivating the path, or are you go with the knowledge and collecting, hold it to memory, hold it to memory. So remember, those are this change that the bring to your life when you deeply absorb the path. So the path mean not collecting memory, or collecting knowledge, or collecting others ideas, or the following others advices. No, the path mean you start to see cause and effect, how things come to be as they are according to necessary situations, conditions, environment. So when you are able to see that, naturally you become a person willing to change. And when you willing to change, naturally you build up strength, resilient, or you recover so fast. The history cannot hold you. The past experience cannot hold you. That is why you completely become new person. And then you get into the connection, each and everything, day and night, black and white, up and down, here and there, far and near, seen, unseen. You start to connect this everything. When you come to that connection deeply, you get out of the self-centered mind. When you get out of that self-centered mind, you complete your transformation, your liberation, or your nibbana. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you, may no difficulties come to you, may no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi diga yuko bhava ittavata cha ammi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya idam me punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamunchutu. Bless you.